Hello, and welcome to the New Earth Ascending Consciousness. Myself and Bonnie Bird are the co hosts for today, and we're going to be bringing on Denise Chadwick in a few minutes, and she's going to be doing a unity circle. So we thought we would bring her on so you could get a chance to get used to her and everything. But before we bring her on, we just wanted to take a moment to kind of talk about what the New Earth Ascending Consciousness is. It's a Facebook group, but it's a very different kind of Facebook group than what you normally would see out there. And Bonnie, will you explain like what we've been guided to do with this group?
We've been guided to offer or sharings of your heart of anything that you want to share with others that would help them with this ascension energy, and just to help people learn how to balance and give them tools so that they can cope through the energies that we have right now, and just share and help each other, you know do the things that we need to do in order to feel balanced and safe, and we're doing this so that the people who are teaching, they can get their name out there, and they can uh, be able to invite them back to their own pages, so it kind of like gets them a little bit of recognition. And but we're also doing it just from our heart, just 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 to be loving at this time. People need that. And for the teachers, if they have a donation button, if you do want to give something from your heart to them, but it's not necessary. And so that's what we're here for.
Yeah, it was one of the main things that happened when we were guided because myself, Bonnie, David, Star, and Jessie May, we were all guided when we decided to organize this group in this way. And one of the things that our guide stressed very much was that what we offer in this group has to be offered to the people. And it was meant to be something that all people can access no matter what their income levels or anything like that. And so we've been really working at trying to keep it in that kind of guideline. And so far, so good. And a lot of people are really enjoying these unity circles that we're doing. They're finding they're getting an awful lot out of it. And we're turning into a tribe and we are, it's been since August 31st when we changed over and started doing this, and more people after they've been attending to the unity circles and things, they all keep saying that they feel like they have a place where they can go to where they're actually meeting people, that they're not just like typing into a page and putting a post up and interacting in that way, that we're making connections. We're making real human connections through social media. And we were told that if we were shown that this is a prototype for the way that the new earth is going to be like when everything shifts and we're in the new energies, what the way that we're doing things in this group is kind of a prototype to that. And we were shown that if this can work on a social media platform, then it can work in real life as well. And we're looking at eventually we are going to probably more than likely have nonprofit organizations all over the world, and we will be funding all kinds of initiatives and projects that are going to help clean up the earth. And um, it's going to be amazing what's going to happen with this. So it's only starting with a group in Facebook, but it has the potential to be something that's going to be something amazing that's going to be happening for our world.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Do you have anything more to add, Bonnie, before
I
we
think
bring
I
Denise?
think you said everything.
Okay, so we're going to bring in Denise. Denise is going to be doing a unity circle in, got to get the dates up. I'll get the dates up and I'll tell everybody after we get her on. I'm going to go look and see what they are. And she's going to come on. She's going to explain what her unity circle is going to be like. So we'll bring on Denise and welcome her to the New Earth AC. Hi,
Hi.
Denise. Welcome.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. I think I have a banner that's all ready to go up with when your Unity Circle is, but I'm not sure. So, um, can you just start out by telling us what your Unity Circle is going to be about? I know it's light language and it's about going into the heart and the higher heart,
Mm-hmm.
but can you explain a little bit more in depth about what it is? And
Sure. So, one of my dreams, really, for the planet is for everybody to be living from the heart. Um, and in terms of the energy centers, we have our heart chakra, which is in the center of our chest, and our higher heart, which is kind of between the throat and the heart. And the higher heart chakra is important in terms of our higher self being anchored into our body. Um, and and it's also linked to speaking our truth with love. So it's a connecting point between the heart chakra and the throat chakra. In terms of colors, the higher heart is turquoise or aquamarine. So that's actually a very green turquoise, but I feel the energy of aquamarine actually a little bit more with the higher heart these days than turquoise even. So in order for us to be living from the heart, it's what I mean by that is us making our decisions from the heart, speaking from the heart, and instead of it coming from our head, which is traditionally where it's come from, to actually bring our awareness more into our heart space and make our decisions from there. And basically everything, live our lives from the heart. And our heart has the biggest electromagnetic field in the body, and it's way bigger than the head. I think it's something like 1,000 times bigger. I can't remember, but it's a lot bigger. So the idea is that our heart is the controller and not the mind, whereas the mind has been in control really for a long, long time, and probably for most of our lives as well. So what this activation for is for activating your heart chakra. It's going to activate the geometries of your heart chakra and give them an upgrade. And by the geometries, I mean the sacred geometry. So our body has lots of sacred geometry. And this is crystalline sacred geometry. So it's like a crystalline sacred geometry template of the heart and the higher heart. And if our heart, often when we've been hurt, our heart tends to kind of close up a little bit as well. So it'll help open it up. It's not like it's going to be boom and suddenly your heart is wide open, but it puts in a template as well for an open heart. So your heart knows what it's aiming for. So within that, there may be some shedding from that, as our body lets go of stuff, there may be some emotions that are released afterwards. What else to say? Have you any questions from what I've said so far?
Well, I mean, I think that's exciting exactly because most people will notice that when someone asks them to do something or when they get their feelings hurt, they want to react in this way of protection and just, you know, belt out the answer because it's upsetting to them. And you can hear your heart argue with you and say, no, they really didn't mean to do that. They really just think about it before you answer. And so more and more people are trying to do that, but to actually live there, that's amazing. To actually bypass that whole, and that's what we're striving for. So what you're doing is really exciting, and I really can't wait to actually do the circle myself. I'm going to be there. And so I'm just really excited for that because that's what we need right now. I mean, we need to help people to understand the difference when your heart's talking and when your mind's talking to you, and make that connection so that you can bring in the love into your decisions, bring the love into your life, bring the love into everything that you do, and that's what your heart does.
Mm-hmm.
your mind wants to bring in the fear and reasons why you can't do it, but your heart, that's going to bring in all of what you can do. And then I really am excited about that, because that you're taking baby steps to what we need to do.
Yeah, and sometimes when we make decisions from our heart, our head might be going, "That's crazy," that's not logical. And it's about living from your intuition as well. It's about making your decisions, I'd say from your heart, but it's kind of also from your gut in lots of ways as well. It's wherever you feel your intuition that you're making your decisions from. A small examples, one time, somewhere towards Christmas, and I was out. This is when I lived in Australia, and actually moving to Australia was very much a decision that was made from the heart. Following my heart to go there. But on this particular day, I thought I was going home, and I turned out of a shop, and home was one way, and I was going the other way, and I'm like, okay, it's my legs are taking me in a certain direction, and it's just a very small thing. It's just a very small example. But I found a really, really beautiful Christmas tree ornament to go on the top of the tree that I wasn't particularly looking for. But it was kind of like right there when I went into the shop. So on some level, my body knew that, and just, took me there. So that's an example of a very small, inconsequential thing, really. But the bigger decisions, the smaller decisions, and the bigger decisions. And if you're feeling to go in a certain direction, follow it, because you don't know who you're going to bump into, what's going to happen when you do that.
So it's like getting in tune with your senses, because you're if it feels like fear, then more than likely it's coming from your mind.
Yeah.
Feels like love, it's coming from your heart. If it feels like a knowing, it's coming from your gut.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of using all three to make the right decision.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes I think when we have it's like a warning. Our higher self gives us that, when you say like there's something doesn't feel right in your gut, gives you a warning the signal, and then we just ignore it. We just don't listen to it. And so it can go both ways. It can tell you when something is right, and it can also tell you when something is wrong.
And that's interesting because because if we're in a place of fear, this was my challenge when I first started doing this, because if my decision was no, I had to learn to tune into, am I just feeling no because I'm fearful of doing that, or is it not actually the right decision? And that just comes with practice, I think, really. The more you do it and the more you practice it, the more you're like, no, I can kind of feel the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And being able to use all three, because there's a reason for all three. We always want to get rid of the one that's, we feel like is getting in the way, but really it's all about learning how to love everything about yourself. And the more that you talk to your fears, the more that you let your mind know that you're not going to do anything that's going to hurt you personally, then the more your mind is going to trust your heart and your gut. So it's almost like trying to get in flow with each other. And it's a process. It's mastering your own alchemy. It's doing, masculine and feminine, balancing it out, and being able to listen to your body, listen to your heart, listen to your soul. It's an amazing process, and that's what we're all headed towards.
So in the unity circle that you're going to be doing, you're going to be doing a visualization and light language for the heart opening in the higher heart. And will you be doing will it be kind of like an activation that you'll be kind of doing, or how is that going to be coming through?
Yeah, so I normally start with a bit of a visualization. So, that's like a guided meditation, really. So in the visualization, that slows things down in your body and helps you, if your mind's busy, it helps that to slow down and brings a bit of focus into your body as well. Because what we want to do in these things is not necessarily leave our bodies, but be fully present within our bodies. So I normally start, and I don't always plan this ahead of time. It's whatever comes through on the day is what feels right for the higher beings than I am that are kind of, speaking through me, really. For those that are watching and those that are going to watch on the replay. Often when I do visualizations, it's like kind of going out into nature. There may be certain colors to connect with. Heart chakra is green. And as I said before, like aquamarine or turquoise for the higher heart. So it might be that I bring in those colors. And a lot of that is to start the activation process as well. It's a way of relaxing people so they're nice and open for the transmission, for the activation, but it's all actually part of it too.
Absolutely. I agree with that. People really have to be like going with the flow and being really relaxed and just, the more relaxed you are, the more that you can open up to the codes and the keys that you're presenting to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that completely.
And so the light language itself, for those that don't know about light language, to me, it's the language of the soul, it's the language of the heart, and it actually bypasses the mind. It's not linear. Your brain might be listening, going, I want to know what that means, I want a translation, but it doesn't necessarily translate into English. One word of light language could be a whole paragraph or a whole dictionary full of English. It doesn't necessarily equate in that way. So it kind of bypasses the mind and goes straight to the heart. And some people will really feel a lot happening in their bodies when they're receiving the light language, and some people won't. And there's no right or wrong with that. I'm quite clairsentient, so I feel things very strongly in my body. If someone's clairaudient, they may, it's probably let's say clairvoyant, that's probably more appropriate. So someone who's more clairvoyant might see things with their third eye. Or you might just have a knowing. If you're claircognizant, you might just have a knowing of, kind of what's happening in your body. So if you don't feel something really strongly, it doesn't mean that it's not working. It's just that maybe that sense isn't as strong for you, and maybe it's just not a feeling activation for you. But the codes are still going into your body. And the codes, if you think of the body in terms of a computer, for example, it's like having a system software upgrade when you're receiving light language codes. Those codes are going into your body and they're upgrading certain systems of your body. Or it's like, putting new apps in there. It's a very similar analogy to computer terminology that we use for this. So when I speak the light language, and I'll do an example of this for people as well, so they have an idea of what happens in a light language activation. When I speak the light language, some of it sounds like words, but it is holding information, and it's also holding geometry. And if you know about cymatics, so when you play music, and if you've got the mechanism of playing music, if the speaker is underneath, say, a piece of paper with salt on it, then the music underneath is going to create shape out of the grains of salt. And if you don't know what this is, just check it out, cymatics.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful geometry that is created from sound. So the sound is holding geometries, and that can be quite distorted as well on the. If we're playing music, certain music creates distortion. And that was shown really nicely by Masaru Emoto, who showed with the crystals of ice, that when you speak to water that turns into ice crystals, if you're shouting at it, saying really nasty things to it, it creates distortion in the water and therefore in the ice crystals. But when you're saying really beautiful things like, I love you, love, gratitude, that creates really beautiful crystals. So this is a very loving from the heart activation as well, and it will upgrade the geometry of your body. And I find I talk a lot with my hands. I'm like trying to keep them down, but they keep wanting to come up. But when I do light language, there's a lot going on with the hands. So there's a lot of frequencies come through at the same time. There's different frequencies come through my hands, and there's different frequencies in the voice. And people sometimes speak in terms of light language that it's different dialects, which in a way is slightly misleading, but it's maybe the nearest wording that we have. And when I speak light language, there's actually a lot of frequencies coming through at the same time. And I say that, use the word frequencies instead of dialects, but it's like one is more at the forefront than the others. And it often changes, mid-sentence even. And I would say that these frequencies are from source creator, they're source codes. A lot of people link them with different planetary systems, different, galaxies and star systems. And there is that in there as well. But to me, they're all source codes. What
I have a question for you that you might be able to answer, because this has been a question that I've had for a very long time. First of all, when you were talking about some people don't feel anything, I seem to be in that part. I don't seem to feel anything when people are doing it, and then everybody else is like, whoa, I'm like blown away, and they're like, oh, did you feel that energy come through? And I just like don't feel it. And when you explained that, it kind of makes me feel a little bit better that some people don't feel it, but it's still happening, and that makes me feel better. But then another question that I have is, and I don't know what the real answer is, but like back in the day, before anybody talked about light language or anything like that, I grew up in a Methodist Protestant church, okay? And they did this speaking in tongues, like people were speaking in tongues, and it was just like, sounded very much like light language. And so I'm just wondering, and maybe I'm wrong, but could light language be the same thing as speaking in tongues?
Yeah, I think so. Like I've no personal experience of hearing people speak in tongues, but people that have say that it sounds the same.
I have. It sounds the same.
Yeah.
And it's high frequency. And I think they just didn't understand what it was. So they would rather just say talking in tongues, because your tongue is doing what it does. And so because I speak light language too, and sometimes it's really soothing and kind, and then sometimes it's really feels really exciting and powerful, and I think it depends on, like, if I do it when I'm working with someone, I think it depends on what they need, how it comes out. But sometimes it sounds like words, sometimes it sounds like a language, sometimes it sounds like gibberish. And so, but you always question yourself when you haven't been doing it very long, because I haven't been doing it that long. So I'm always like, what was that?
It's interesting when the frequency comes through as well, because you kind of like, oh, I've not heard that one before. And some of it can be very deep. It can go really, some of the notes that come through for me are the lowest ones that my body will create. That's expanded a lot since starting to do this, by the way. The higher notes are higher and the lower notes are lower. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It comes out differently because it's for that person as well. So it comes out to their needs. And actually sometimes it can sound quite distorted. It can sound a bit harsh.
Yeah, well. Like you're yelling it, like growly, really masculine. You're like, what was that?
Somebody might be scolding someone. It's like almost like, come on now, you need to like step up to the plate. You need to start doing what you came here to do. And that's like the way it sounds. Like it sounds like you're being told, like, come on now, cop on. That's what it sounds like sometimes.
And I think it's probably more in some ways. It's sometimes it has to sometimes it gently goes into the body, and it might be more like a sine wave. Sometimes it's like, and especially if it's breaking through blockages, that it has to be quite
loud.
Yeah. Or a bit harsh or whatever to kind of like get through. So yeah, there's lots of different ways that it can come through, and sometimes it's in tones. It's like keeping a a long note going.
And sometimes it sounds like like what you would think fairies would talk like, you know,
Yeah,
you know, making ticking and clicking and yeah.
yeah, it's quite incredible. I used to listen to beatboxers sometimes and think, wow, how can they make those sounds with their mouth, with their voice box? And then sometimes sounds like that come through, and I'm like, oh, that's how they do it. But then I have no idea how it's actually, once it's done, I can't then go, oh, I'll try that again and it'll come through. It doesn't
Can
really
you
work.
imagine beatboxers, what kind of light language people they would be if they took that up? Holy cow.
Yeah, it would be
We were doing a Unity circle. Was that last week? We did one where we were astral traveling, and we were at something, and the fairies were talking. I can't remember. The fairies were coming in, and I do tone. I have been doing toning. I don't know why, but it's been happening, and so I started doing this toning thing, and then I kind of like scared myself. I was going whoop whoop, and I've never
It's like,
done
what is that?
it. And I was just kind of almost like, okay, I'm going to shut up now because it was scaring me. And then as soon as I got done with that, another lady came in and she started channeling the fairies. And it was very much that energy. And I was like, oh, this is weird. I've never had that happen before. So when your light language first came out, Denise, did you kind of go, what am I doing? Like, did you kind of like,
not really, because I first heard it in 2006.
mm-hmm.
So I'd been aware of light language a long time, really, before it started coming through. The first time, and also I've been writing light language instructions over people's body for years before I knew what light language was. I thought they were new symbols, like new Reiki symbols that were coming through, but now I know that it was light language. And it's like I weave frequencies into the body when I do kind of, even the word healing, I don't really like to use it, but I'll put that in because people will know what it means. But when I do those sessions, it is actually like I'm weaving different frequencies into the body to help it release, whatever's stuck there. So the written stuff I'd been doing for a long, long time. And then I heard some light language because I was living in Byron Bay, Australia at the time. And, there was a lot of people, it was very much in my awareness. And I remember one time there'd been an earthquake somewhere and there was some risk of tsunami. And so the local radio station had someone on doing light language. And that was the first time I think that I'd heard it. And I received some in a treatment from someone as well. And, I've been doing Reiki. I've been a Reiki master for a few years by this time, but this woman was singing into my body and I was like, this is crazy, but it feels amazing. And, afterwards, some time later, I realized that she was doing light language. So the first time it came through was just a few words, and then nothing really happened for a couple of years after that. But I could feel when I was toning that was light language as well. But it just wasn't coming through in what sounds like words.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely getting the key to light language is being comfortable, relaxing, allowing what feels, and just allow it to come through and let your, just let your jaw soften and just allow it to come. And don't think about what's coming out, just think it's for the highest best, whatever it is.
And sometimes when I'm doing things on my own, it sounds ridiculous what's coming out, and I will laugh. And live activations, it is funny, and it doesn't have to be kind of too serious. But some things just sound ridiculous, and there's certain ones that your jaw needs to move in a different place to bring the sound through. And I can't even like show you now. It might come through when I do the activation. It might not. But when that started coming through, I was kind of like, oh, what's going on here? What's this that's coming through? And I think because I've been working with energy for a long time and working with angels and ascended masters, and obviously bringing source energy through with Reiki as well, so I can feel the positive vibration of it. I can feel the frequency of it.
Yeah,
because I guess not everyone who's speaking in tongues and speaking light language, it's not not always from the highest source, but because I was already channeling that kind of energy, that has always been what comes through.
Yeah.
And
I
sometimes,
think that's why it's a little easier for me too, because I'm a Reiki master teacher also, and I feel it. I feel the energy coming through.
and when I started using it in sessions, I was blown away at how easily energy clears. Because sometimes when you're doing sessions, you're working on it and you're working on it, and it's quite stuck, and something's been blocked for a while, and there's a lot of like around it. It's quite hard to get in there sometimes. But you do light language, and it's like boom, and it's just cleared. It's really next level when you're bringing it in session.
Like I kind of imagine it as like it getting into the cells and just moving around in there and just breaking it up.
Yeah.
Kind of how I see it.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering if maybe you could do, even though this isn't part of like your unity circle, but for today, like giving us a taste of your light language, is there any way you could do something for the people? We have a lot of Americans that are watching us today, and people are struggling with all the things that have been happening with the election, and the energy has just kind of gone really wild over there, and just wonder maybe if you could do something with an intention to help. Um,
Calm the nerves, help everybody go with the flow and know it's going to be okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm over here in the US.
There's fireworks going off here, so if you hear the sound of explosions, it is November 5th over here, so that's our bonfire night. So I don't think this will pick it up.
I can't hear it. I can't hear it.
Yeah, we can't hear anything.
Just in case you start hearing that, it's just fireworks. Okay, so I invite us all to bring our awareness to our heart space in the center of our chest. And let us all breathe in love. Breathe love into your beautiful heart. And I invite us to put one or both hands in the center of your chest. And you'll probably find your fingers will just go over to your left, to your actual physical heart. And let us say to our beautiful hearts, I love you. I love you. I love you. And let us just lower our hands now to our solar plexus. And this is the energy center below your heart space. So this is like in the upside down V of your rib cage. And place both hands there and breathe love into this area. And as you breathe out, let us all breathe out any fears, any worries. And let us send the intention that as we do this, we're actually clearing the energy field, clearing that fear out of the energy field all over the planet, but particularly over the US. Ahyan erele tui ai anamokul Iastahyan anonomoya me kielan od oyan moi ahan elekia mokolara me urut usht makai ahle onohola mokol aren inai mokolara noyast ai mokola ehyan melai ai anokuna me kiahan ero ut uinai me ila chronoi akitin orana echia umahera niakatan me kialara no kuyapan kule east ayan no kututoi anayalaya Kila Oyalai Noi. And keep breathing in love and breathing out any fears, anything that stops you being in this now moment, any worries. Olahiana barat asht. Elehiano kuya tanakiyama. Maloi anayast oya. Mekian ayat on a. Mehian eralan okian at ia. Mushtai elehian oyatono. Ulahana ikiana era. Oi an est oi paran. Ilara noyasta mekia. Mukula. Makialan iabrano kuna at ai. Holehian. Milai itona. Kol asht era nokia. Mihal era ul ahinekian ut uyasta. Beren iad un ara. Holai anakurea duya. Irodono unni iad un uya it ia. Me arano ui istaya niaka. At uya parano ui yutun uya tatataa. Milishtai iarano ui it uyin. Ian ui it ara. Me aran ay ist uya tututu ui. Ooh, yanay. Ooh, yay. Mishtail aranakun eleyam ep ai un ukunasta I al yanay ats oist ai makol ara nokoi baratata. Mishta in iaro ut uyatata. So just breathing deeply, bringing your awareness back to your heart space. And as you breathe in love, feeling that love expanding from your heart into every cell of your body and out into your electromagnetic field. And let us all now send love from our hearts to every heart on the planet. Let us visualize the whole planet being enveloped in love. Stoyalai inoya pona un est uya tatataan yolo uya. So if your eyes are closed, just opening them when you're ready. And if you have water, just taking a little drink.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
I think she's muted. Have you muted yourself, Denise? Oh, okay. I did hear a couple of fireworks there in the end. I thought, oh, maybe somebody upstairs dropped something. But it wasn't too very loud or anything like that. Thank you very much for giving us a taster. I do feel calmer after that, and I think that I'm hoping that it'll calm some of the people in the United
I really
States
felt that. Thank
over
you.
the next few
Really
months.
appreciate that.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
I feel like I can breathe.
Yeah.
So that's Denise Chadwick, guys. She is going to be coming on. She's going to be doing a visualization in light language for the heart opening into the higher heart unity circle on Saturday, November 21st. So it'll be put up into the announcements in the New Earth Ascending Consciousness group. On the Sunday before, we'll be putting up all of the unity circles in there. So if you're looking and you want to be part of it, we do them in the Zoom room format. And so anybody can go in and anybody can participate. We record them and then we put them up afterwards in the New Earth AC YouTube page, Channel Planet, so that people can go back and they can, do them, especially the people that didn't get to show up during the time that it was happening. So the Unity Circle, and whatever keys, codes, or whatever happens inside of there will be able to spread out throughout the whole world. So
And
that's,
if you subscribe, then you will just automatically get an alert when it pops up, and
yeah.
every time we do a new one. So yeah.
Yeah, and that information, I think the YouTube channel is also in the announcement section. And so if you're looking for the link to go over to the YouTube channel, it's in the Facebook group. It's up at the top of the announcement. It's always there. So it's there for everybody to link in. So we just want to take a moment, myself and Bonnie, I want to take a moment and thank you, Denise, for not only coming on today and giving us a chance to feel your energy and get excited about your Unity Circle, but for actually hosting a Unity Circle in our group, because we have been looking for people who would like to do this. In fact, Bonnie, would you like to invite everybody out there? If they'd like to be a host, they can.
Yeah, if they want to be a host, if they want to do some of these Unity circles, just go ahead and go to the New Earth Ascending page, and inside the announcements, you can find how to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's our email is newearthaz1111@gmail.com. So if you want to come in, and then if you can't remember what I just said, it's also at the top of the announcements. So if you want to be involved, and there's been a few people, we've had a few hosts since we started doing this, and we're getting more and more all the time. And Denise is going to be doing her Unity Circle during the week that we actually are having a week called Dragon Week. It's a dragon themed week. And so something might come through, you never know. Since it's Dragon Week, she might, some light language might come through that might have something to do with dragons on the day. We don't know, but she's
It's quite
might,
lovely.
We'll leave it to the universe.
yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, Denise.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor.
Oh,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Thank you.